Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna do something a little different here today. So, my sister, say your name.
Hi.
So we have been
Hi.
watching movies. Well, we've been going to the movies for the past year or so. It technically started in 2022, but we're just gonna roll with it. Um, we've gone to the movie probably about every other Tuesday, and just as a way to do stuff together. And we decided it'd be a good idea to like rank the movies, and I feel like that'd be kind of fun. And we've probably watched what, maybe 20 movies or 20 plus or around 20 movies. So what we're gonna
Yeah.
do is we're just gonna rank them simple S A B C D tier list, and then every time we put a movie on, we're gonna talk about it, like what we liked, what we didn't like, or why we felt that it was in that category versus not. Does that make sense?
So,
Okay, your mic is cutting out.
oh, okay, wait. Let me turn
Okay,
it up a little
okay,
bit.
that's better. I think you just gotta talk more directly into them. Okay, so we're gonna start with the first one. It's gonna be I think this is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Again, it's been a while
Yes,
since we've seen
sir.
some of these movies, but I think I like this one. I the thing is I liked it. I think that the thing that I liked the most, I guess, was like Wanda was really strong in this movie. Like she was fucking people up.
It was. She was, she was gatekeeping, first of all. She was being a girl boss, which she needed to do. She needed to put her foot down.
um
She went, boom, stop.
yeah. Dude, she was crazy. And I don't know the ending about I think like I don't know if Wanda's dead. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I don't know. But um it's just like it got a little confused. I'm not say confusing, but toward the end, I was like, it seems like she was like all forgiven. She's like, oh my god, I did all these wrong things, and now I can't forgive
I'm
myself.
so
And
sorry.
yeah, and it's like, okay, I mean, I guess that's enough. And then she apparently dies, but who knows? Because it's Marvel. So
I think, my favorite scene from that movie was when Doctor Strange, what was that guy's name? Like, was stuck. He wasn't stuck in time. He, had that time bracelet thingy or like the pendant, not the pendant, the necklace, and he like trapped him in like a loop. He like Doctor Strange kept dying. Remember that part?
Doug, that was the first one. This is the second one.
What? No
Yeah,
way.
the first one was him
Sir,
and Dormammu. He was like the all
what
like powerful like
the freak?
dude. You're
No freaking way.
totally wrong movie. Totally wrong movie.
Bro, I'm twisted.
Okay, I would say this one, especially like one of my favorite scenes from this movie was the fight scene when they were fighting. I think they were the Illuminati or whatever. It was like their secret Illuminate
Oh, oh yeah.
organization. I think that was a really cool scene. Like the fact that Wanda was just bodying like every one of them. So I'd say this is a B. It was good, but like not great.
Yeah.
You agree?
Wait, can you share your screen?
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I'm a bit boomer when it comes to this. I don't mind that.
Your millennial side is coming out right now.
Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Okay, can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna go B tier on that one. Okay, next one is Smile. I think this is what really, well, when we kind of established that this whole movie thing was going to become a thing, because it was just like, oh, let's go to the movies, spend time together. But
Yeah.
then the Smile one was when, like, I kind of feel like kind of was like, oh, we should start doing this more often. So this one, I think it was a start, and there was a lot of like marketing on this movie, which I thought was cool. They like were having, I don't know if it was the same girl that's on the poster right here,
Oh yeah, I remember
but
that.
they had her go to like NBA games and like sit like courtside, and then the cameras would kind of pan to her like, oh, like what is she doing? This is weird. And again, I don't know if this is
Yeah.
intentional or was in collaboration with the NBA, but I thought that was cool, and I mean it kind of brought me into watching the movie, so I mean it did its job. So The
Yeah,
thing,
I think that was really good.
yeah. So I thought that was clever. But the thing, my biggest complaint about this movie, and I feel like this is gonna determine like my ranking of the movie. I just didn't. I'm not a big fan of jump scares, when it comes to scary like the horror movies. I think it's just too much. I think if you're doing jump scares as like your main source of horror, I think maybe the plot isn't great, or like what you're trying, what you're doing isn't great.
I think this when people started like kind of seem like it was like a true horror movie. Like there was gore, but there wasn't that much. But people made it be like, oh my god, this movie is so scary. Don't watch this if unless you're like you really love horror movies. It wasn't me. It wasn't really a horror movie. It was more like a psychological thriller.
Yeah,
So
it kind of reminded me of I don't know if you've seen it, but It Follows. You ever seen that movie?
no, I haven't.
Okay, well, it's a good movie to watch. It's similar, but I think It Follows is better. And we can kind of go in the plot, like where there's like a demon that takes form of people, and it follows you. It like just follows you, and if it like gets in contact with you, you die. It's a weird, it's kind of an odd premise, but it was good. But I feel like this one was like a subpar kind of not play, but premise of that. And I feel like I remember the ending being kind of weird. Like it was like it kept faking you out. It was like, okay, they didn't actually like kill the people, or like they didn't actually like.
Yeah.
I don't really like, again, like we watched this movie kind of a long time ago, but I feel like this one, it wasn't much, like there was a lot of like back and forth, and it's like I don't know what's going on. And I feel like that's when like horror movies get kind of convoluted, when you're like, okay, did this actually happen, did this actually not happen? And it, I don't know, just like it was okay, but it was decent, it wasn't bad. But in terms of horror films, I honestly put it as like a C tier. I think like I've seen
Yeah, I was
better,
gonna say that.
so we can go C tier on that one. Okay, so we didn't go to the theaters for this one. It came out on streaming services on Netflix.
Yeah.
So Glass Onion. It took me a long while to see the previous movie to this one. It was Knives Out.
Mm.
I think I saw it. I think maybe even after the fact I watched this, but
Yeah, I
we're not
think
gonna
I
include
did
that one.
too.
Yeah, but Glass Onion I thought was good. I think Edward
I thought
Norton
it was really good too.
kills it. I can't remember who else in the fucking movie, but like I think the whole thing. And Daniel Craig, I guess the guy's name. Yeah, the James Bond guy, or the detective. He killed it, and I feel like there's a lot of plots that were coming up, like they were changing things, not changing things, like they kind of kept you guessing, and I feel like that's a good part of a mystery. Like you
Mm.
kind of thought to believe one thing, but then other things. Um, so I would say this was great. I think like original plot, kind of cool metaphors, really lavish, and I think like I don't remember there being much CGI, but if there was CGI, it was done really well. Whereas like the scale of the movie felt really great.
I think like the location of the movie was like really nice. Like they put like so much into like so much detail into like Highland, and I just like really appreciate how much detail they put into that.
Yeah, so I do remember like just like also like the costumes too. I remember the costumes, like every outfit that
Yeah.
they wore was like really well put together, and like the color palettes of everything, and every it was, they were in like this. I mean, he was like the guy was a billionaire, and there was
Yeah.
always like these elaborate things and very lavish things. And I feel like again, like that, maybe that's not the point of the point of the movie, but I think that really added to the production of the movie. So I thought this one was, Glass Onion was really. I would, I put it at an A tier. I think I would watch it again.
You just read my mind.
We'll put this in A tier. Okay. Bullet Train. So
Oh, I slept through this
you
movie.
did fall asleep. So I
Yes,
don't.
but I watched it after though.
No, so I remember we went to this movie kind of late because again, like there was no like schedule for these movies. Like we would go one week, one Tuesday, because the AMC's, if you don't know, it's $6 movies on Tuesday, so you can go and it's any all day. And I think I had got off work late or something, and or later, and you obviously have school, so you were probably tired, and so we watched this movie, and I think maybe not even 30 minutes in, you fell asleep.
so sleepy. I had
Yeah.
practice after school.
Yeah. So again, like I was like, I think I noticed you fell asleep, and I think I nudged you a couple times, but you did fall asleep, and I was like, you know what, she's tired, whatever.
I was
But
dead asleep.
yeah, that is how. And I thought this was a fun movie. Like I loved the two characters. It was Lemon and Orange, right? Those two guys.
Yep. Aaron Taylor Johnson. I love that man so
Bro,
much,
he
and you
crushed
don't
it. He
understand.
crushed it in this movie. And like the other guy, I again he's in other movies too. I just can't think of other movies he's in. But the black guy,
Aaron
the
Taylor
black gentleman.
Johnson?
No, and not even, but his like
Ooh.
his brother, like his pseudo brother, the one he like were
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
they were like orphans or something. Um,
Uh,
dude, that great dynamic. It was fun. Like their banter was like very brother like, and I was like they seemed like a fun duo. And
yep.
I kind of hope like, I mean, I don't know if it's ever been ever talk about it, but like having a movie of their like antics would be really
That'd be
cool.
really good.
Yeah. So I thought I liked this movie. Again, I didn't even finish it. The thing is, we left because it was like, again, you were falling asleep. So I was like, you know, it's getting late. I think I had to be up early the next day. So I think I left like the scene where the big head honcho is like, oh, he's at the station. He, like, you need to see him. He wants to talk to you. And Brad Pitt's like walking out of the train. And like
Mhm.
there's like that guy's bodyguard. I got to that point and I left because I was like, hey, we
Oh,
should leave. So I never even finished the movie. I don't know what the ending is. So, but even
hmm.
from what I saw, like I thought it was great. The action was great. It was fun. I think it was kind of funny that Bad Bunny was in the movie, which I didn't expect for that to
Yeah.
be. So, um, I liked it. I think again, I have been meaning to watch it again, but I'm trying to think of another movie that it reminds me of. But it's just like a fun action movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just like it just rolls with it. And again, Brad Pitt, always a great pick for movies. Um, but I liked it. It was solid. I I
Yeah.
I I'll put out for this one. I'll put for you. What do you vote?
I was gonna say A, but I think it deserves to be in the S tier.
Okay, okay, all right. I guess maybe since I haven't seen the ending, I can't really give it the S. But I think like this is all star
It's like a,
cast.
a high A.
It's a high A. I would say very high A.
Yeah.
Like from what I remember, like all star cast, like great movie. I think if I were to rewatch it again, I would put it in the S tier. But I feel like S tier is like it's a pretty high spot to hold. But again, we can
Mhm.
fluctuate these movies. We can if nothing makes S tier, we have to obviously have an example. So um
Yeah.
okay, next one I think was your pick. So and then I think at this point either we were swapping movies at this point or
Yeah.
I don't know when we established that, but we would pick. Um, but Halloween ends. Um, I'm pretty sure this is your pick because you're
I
a big fan of the
Yeah,
Halloween
it
series.
was. I think this movie was like it was good, and I like how they kind of put it into the whole Halloween series, but it was like just too stretched out. Like they didn't really need to make more movies. And I think they made another movie after this.
Do they?
I'm not
How did they
sure.
make it into? Okay, so the thing is,
Oh, I don't know.
I've seen maybe one like way back when, like when I was younger, and I don't remember much about them, but I remember this one. It seemed like very definitive. It was like he's dead. Like Michael Myers is dead.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like okay, with these movies, I'm not too focused on spoilers. If you haven't seen these movies, you should go see these movies. And if you're listening to this, like, there's gonna be spoilers. But they put his fucking body through like a trash compactor, like or some sort of like
Yeah.
wood grinder or wood chipper or something. So I just don't see how if you. I mean, I can like in this movie they like made that one guy as like the like he was like the pseudo or like the I want to be Michael Myers. Like I'm so inspired by him, which is crazy because the
Yeah.
dick writing is insane on that guy. Um, but it's just like I liked. I think the action was good. I think the back half when things were starting to pop off, like when he was like becoming Michael Myers and they were having like this little weird like stare down in the sewers.
Yeah. They made like
Also
13 movies.
there's a I know there's a lot. So, but I think I mean for overall, I knew that this was like supposed to be like the end of the movie, end of the series because I think um the lady I forgot her name, but like she was like done with the movie. She was like she's like kind of older. She's probably like in her
Yeah.
60s or 70s, but she's getting older.
Yeah.
So I think that it was just like to kind of wrap it up. Um, so
I'm just glad it's over, honestly.
so I remember like probably my favorite part, and I feel like that's not always the part that surprised me, but the part that like I feel like stood out to me the most in this movie was when they were in that like the final house, or like the lady's house or
Oh yeah.
something, and he like was like the girl was like falling out of love of him because she was realizing how crazy he was. Um, and then he like slit his throat. He's like, if I can't have you, or if something, I don't even know. It was like along the lines of, if I can have you, no one can have you. And like he slit his throat to like to kill, like to frame her for his murder. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
bro, like it ain't that serious, man. It ain't that deep. So
I the one scene I remember was their fighting scene between Jamie Lee Curtis's character and Michael Myers. Like they were like on the kitchen island, and he like, I don't know who it was, either um Jamie Lee Curtis's character like pinned them to like the actual island, because the island was made of wood. But, like, she got like knives and like kind of pinned him down. I think that was the one thing I remember, and I really liked it.
I do remember that's like how she like immobilized him. But
Yeah.
it kind of felt like I've always heard that Michael Myers was like this big, like imposing person. Like you just can't stop him. He's like freakishly strong.
Yeah.
And I feel like that wasn't that part of this much in this movie, because maybe because he was older. Like I mean, he was up. I think he was getting up. I don't remember, but um, I thought it was decent. I thought the movie overall was good, and I think not having much knowledge of the prior movies, I still wasn't disappointed. Like I wasn't like, damn, this sucks. But it wasn't like, oh my god, like this is not like this is a bad movie. So I
It was
vote.
okay.
I say C tier. That's my vote.
Yeah. I was gonna say CT.
Okay. I feel like the next one is Wakanda Forever, and I feel like for this one, I might say something that's, I don't know if it's like contradictory, but like I don't think this movie was that great. I didn't like it as much as like the first one.
I think obviously having the death of, God,
Chadwick Boseman.
I think was his, yeah. I think having this movie as like not really a memorial, but just kind of honor him, because he's a great actor. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And having that like the ending, I think it was really sweet.
Yeah, I think that it kind of wrote up a way that they can continue to have like the male Black Panther if they want to go that route.
Yeah.
I just think like in terms of stylishness, like if you look at the first Black Panther, and if I feel like it's always kind of sucks when people, it's like it bothers me when people compare movies to other people, like the previous movie. Like you kind of want to take them as their own thing, but they're obviously related. But I feel like just
Yeah.
in and I feel like this is when the downturn of Marvel movies started to hit, whereas like this one came out because it was, I feel like it was really marketed pretty hard that this movie was going to be the next like big movie, like gonna put Marvel on the map, and like people love the first one, which is understandable because it was just so stylish. And
Yeah.
but I feel like it was just such a weak addition. I think Suri, not to say she was a bad Black Panther, and I think she was doing good things or attempting to do good things in the movie, but um I think the guy's name was Neymar. Like he was just so powerful that it's like, dude, no one can stop him. Like I don't know what you plan
Yeah.
on doing, and then they found a weakness that he's, weak to heat, which makes sense because he's amphibious. But it was just like, I don't know. I just, for some reason, it just didn't hit as hard and as like strongly as previous Black Panther did. And
Mhm.
I think, but I also, one thing I will comment about this movie is that they wrote off Chadwick Boseman in a really good way. Like it was some sort of sudden sickness that they couldn't heal. And I think that's like it's a
Yeah.
very nice way of them writing him out of the movies because I mean it'd be hard as like a in terms of continuity to just be like, oh, now you're the Black Panther. It's like, well, what happened to Chadwick Boseman? And then they did it in a good way where like they
Yeah.
didn't show him, they didn't like make it any more dramatic than it needed to be. And I think that they wanted to move on from it and keep going. So I thought it was good. Like for me, I would kind of put it. I'm kind of torn between B and C. Like that's like where I'm kind of floating.
Mm, I th- I think I'd put it at B.
I will admit again, the CGI looked great. I think some of the fight scenes were cool. I just think also the plot too. I feel like got a little convoluted. Like she was in, was it Atlantis?
Yeah,
She was
I
in
think so.
Atlantis, and then she like left Atlantis, and then yeah, I don't know. It just got a little kind of wonky for me, and I kind of got lost in the sauce in like the back quarter of the movie or the back third of the movie. So, but I would agree. Again, B. It's a fairly decent movie. Like nothing. There's some strong points, but nothing really speaking out. I think the next one is it Pray for the Devil?
Yeah. Wait.
I think it's
Yes.
Pray for the Devil because I mean I think a lot of the horror picks in this movie were yours. Um, so this one I don't think it's part of like is it part of the Conjuring continuity?
It is.
So okay, since
Um.
it's your pick, I feel like you should go. Like what is things you want to mention about the movie?
Honestly, I think this movie was okay, and I mean, it wasn't great, but the thing is, they kind of like with the Nun. Like I know the second Nun movie came out, and this was kind of like related to the Nun. I think they should, since she's like technically already dead, they should like stop bringing her into like the like next Conjuring movies because why why is she like back like alive?
Wait, like the
She's supposed to be
actor
dead.
or like the character that is
The
the nun?
character, she's supposed to be dead.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen Insidious, the first one, when it came out, like in I
Yeah.
don't know, like a long time ago. I think that's like the only one that I ever watched out of this whole like horror series. But I this is mostly on you because I don't really remember much of the movie. I think that there was nothing really stood out to me, and I was like, kind of just like watching it. It wasn't it. It felt I don't know. I don't have a high opinion of this movie. I don't remember. There's not much. There's not if there's not much I don't remember about it. I probably wasn't the biggest fan of it. Not to say like it. I'd enjoy
Yeah.
the time watching it, but it was just like nothing stood out to me. So I just feel like it wasn't
I also think
for me.
the jump scares weren't like really hitting. They were like really predictable. So I don't know. But I mean in like all horror movies you get jump scares, but in this one they didn't really hit as hard.
Hmm. So for me, I'm voting D tier. Like I think that this was like I
Yeah.
once was enough, and the fact that once isn't enough and I don't remember it. All I remember is that it was like something I wouldn't watch again. I feel like that's for me criteria for
I
D.
think this actually might be a prequel like to The Nun if I remember correctly.
You could tell me
So
whatever about this movie, and I would believe you.
yeah.
I don't remember anything about this movie.
I don't know.
So I vote D. What do you say?
Yeah, I also think it's like a E. It was
Give me poo poo. Okay.
these nuts.
Um, the menu. So this is kind of like a back to back. So we watched this movie like 2 days prior, then we watched this movie like on the Thursday.
Yeah.
I think it was like we just saw it off the previews, and we're like, oh, we're gonna watch this because it looks good.
I think
And
you saw it on like Amazon Prime or something, and we could like watch it earlier, like the day before it actually came out.
did we watch this in theaters or we watched this at home?
We watched it in theaters. I think we technically we watched it for free because you had Amazon Prime.
Oh no, okay. Well, I remember I even have on. So we tracked the movies to the AMC app because that's where we watched them. And I think even on when I watched it, it says like early access. So I don't know how we got the early access, but
I,
we watched it early or whatever for whatever reason. But um, I like this movie. I thought it was good. I think Ava Taylor Joy, I think that's what her name is, did a really good job.
mm,
I think I don't remember the other characters' names or like the actors' names, but I think it was a fairly cool, interesting plot. It wasn't, there's some archetypes that are in the movie, like super rich guy, super rich couple, that think they're snobby. Um,
mhm,
and that was the whole point of the movie was like the collapse of, this sort of, or like a satire on like the or punishment of the people who think that they're better than the common folk or the people who work. And that was their penance was death because you know since they could afford to be at this place or they took the time to be at this place, like that was their penance, and they died. Um,
mhm.
and Ava Taylor Joy, because I think she was a sex worker or something like that, right?
I don't remember, but she was not originally on the list, and they like kept giving her the sign. She's like, "Who the freak is this lady?"
And um, he like even the guy, which I thought was like pretty wild. That's the part of the scene that stood out to me the most was when it was revealed that the guy that she came with, she wasn't his original guest, and she was the
Mm,
backup. But he more or less knew that he was condemning her to death. And when the head chef guy approached him, was like, this is not your guest. Like I don't, you know. And like he was like, again, the whole time, the guy that she came with was glazing the chef, like, and and then I guess like that point where like he was like cook and it was like very dissatisfied and he like whispers in his ear and whispers sweets nothing, and then he like is so distraught that he commits suicide. Like you see, and you don't see him hanging himself, but you see him like he hung himself because of
yeah.
what the guy said. So um I think that's what stood out to me the most about this movie, and the fact that she was able to leave because she had earned the respect of the head chef. So I thought that was cool. I think that was like a kind of a cool point that happened in the movie, and it's just like nice production about the movie too. It was there's some little twists and turns, and but I think like the whole thing tied well, and it was nicely well shot.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, at the end of the cheeseburger. So I would say B tier. Like I would watch it again, maybe once.
I would say A.
You say A? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would go A too. We'll put it A because it was such an interesting, like it's a pretty unique, maybe I guess from what I know, a unique plot. So
Compare this movie to any other ones I've watched.
yeah, I can't either. I think it's fairly unique, and I think that's what kind of sets it apart. Okay, so Violent Night. I think we had just saw the preview of it, and we're like, cool, let's watch it. And
I think we thought it was gonna be bad.
I think we kind of walked into it being kind of bad, and I don't think it was. I think it was fun. I think it was pretty cheesy at points, but the action was like pretty decent. Like you're like, damn, it's popping
Yeah.
off. And I think in this movie, I thought the thing I liked about it was that they kind of played up Santa to be like this. I mean, if you really think about it, like he's a pretty like powerful person. The fact that he can, the thing is that he can traverse the world and so fast in one night and deliver all these presents. Like he has to have some sort of like hype, meta human abilities to do what he does. And I think in the movie, like they showed, like he's a pretty strong person. He was like lifting
Yeah.
things, punching people really hard, and like break whatever. Again, like I was impressed with the film. Again, I think the plot was a little cheesy. I think from what I remember, some of the stuff wasn't the best, but like I thought it decent. I didn't think that it was.
Yeah.
I walked out and was like, damn, like that was better than what I was looking forward to.
Yeah. I think they like really. I like how they put like the magic of Santa like like they put a little sprinkle into it with the scene where um he was like really like badly injured, and they just like surrounded him and they kept saying, "I believe in Santa. I believe in Santa." I like how they just put that the magic of Santa and like the childlike story of him.
Yeah, I liked it. I think for the weird sort of premise of the movie, like Santa as like a super hardcore. Because I mean, like I think they even talked about it. He's like Saint Nicholas, like of something of violence or something like that. He's like he's not particularly like the greatest person in what is it, Saint Nick? I can't remember what sort of
So like
cultural
a
background.
Viking
Something like that.
thingy.
Like he's
Yeah,
supposedly like a person of like
like he's
great
like
destruction.
super old, like or something like that. He had like a
Yeah,
weird axe.
yeah. I can't remember what I can't again. This is explained in the movie, like kind of toward the like in the middle-ish end. But he's like not the greatest
Oh, and
guy.
he had tattoos
Yeah, he was
under
like
his freaking suit.
branded like he was like a some sort of not I don't want to say villain, but it wasn't the greatest person. Like he definitely made some questionable choices, and so I think that was really cool. Like he was a bad dude, and he was very skilled in killing people at one point. So I think that was a really cool thing to see, and like it kind of makes sense because like he's that old, like he's such an old person, like such a historic person, and he has powers, and he to do what he does, like he has to have like that kind of metahuman or superhuman abilities. So I would say
It's
I
so freaking cool.
yeah, it was cool, and David Arbor, great. So
Yep.
I would say C for me because it wasn't like spectacular, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like I was impressed of what it could have been.
Yeah.
So I vote C.
Agree.
Okay, so this one, fucking odd. I think this one was the most odd movie that we watched out of all the movies that we watched.
I only wanted to watch it because Timothy Chalamet was in it.
But again, like it was just again like it's even like thinking like trying to explain like the premise of the movie. It was like about like vampires, right? Or like people that ate
Yeah, it's
people.
kind of like a vampire-ish movie.
Yeah, and it was just such an odd concept. Like it was like this lady or this girl was like this person who eats people, and you're like in the beginning, you're like, oh shit, like she fucking eats people. She ain't fucking around. She eats
And she like
people.
you communicate that she doesn't really like to do that, but she's like has to do that to survive.
Oh, they have like these uncontrollable urges that they need to do it. Like it's just like something they need to do.
Yeah.
So I it was odd, and I think like the whole like there was a whole bunch of like hillbilly people, and I think like you really just saw like I feel like this is kind of mean, or it is or it isn't, but like the armpit of America. Like there's some shady ass people out there that are like creepy and weird. And dude, that
Guns,
one scene
drugs.
where like they're at that like one river or something with this other person who like it was like another person who had similar urges who like understood the people,
Oh
but
yeah,
then
they were like out camping or something.
yeah, and then there was another dude that was like not even he didn't have the same urge, but he was just like to do it because he was just weird like that.
She's like a serial killer.
Yeah. So something I don't remember what, but like there was a point in time where like they felt like they were in danger and like they were gonna kill them, or they were gonna get killed by these guys, or they were gonna eat them, be eaten by them. Wow. But
Mm.
I thought that was like kind of like at that point I was like, yo, this is like kind of tense. Like these people are fucking weak. You gotta get the fuck out of there because you don't want to be there.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what to think about the movie. It
Yeah, me
was
too.
okay.
But it was I liked it. I think like
Yeah.
I liked it. I like it's definitely an odd one, but I think it's a little it's kind of like I don't want to say hidden gem, but it's definitely a fairly a better than solid movie in what a like in a movie that you wouldn't expect it to be.
Yeah. I think um I liked um Taylor Russell, the girl.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
and Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, their Timothy Chalamet and her like their chemistry together. They work very well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Say that, and like I feel like again, like I in the end, like you're rooting for them. You're like, I want this to work for them because
Yeah.
this is something that's out of their control. This is the cards they've been dealt. Like they're like they just had a really shitty run of things, and it's not their fault. They're just trying to make the best of it and work with what they've been cursed. Um,
Mm.
and at the end, you're rooting for them, and everything seems to go well, but it doesn't because fucking I think Timothy Chalamet dies, right? Or the girl dies.
Yep. I think he kills himself.
No, I think Timothy Chalamet dies because he again. So one thing I really did like about the movie was that one dude. I don't know his name. I don't remember if they gave him a name. Maybe they probably
The
did.
old guy,
But the old guy that was following them
the
in the
weird.
van, like also too, how the
Oh,
fuck was he finding them over across states? Like, think about it. Like to find someone like
through
within
a
your
fence or
city
something.
is hard. Like just tracking them down. But these people were crossing states, like zipping across states. And they would tell you in the movie, they're like,
Was
oh, now they're in Virginia, now
was
they're in
his name
Georgia.
like Sully or something?
Dude, couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. But I liked him though because he was like this obsessed stalker and like he was just I mean it was a little weird like the writing not to say the writing was bad but like the fact that he was always like one step behind them like always trying to chase them I thought was like kind of cool
Yeah.
and like he was obsessed with her because either he was just a creepy guy or he, like I mean, in the beginning he was like trying to mentor her and he kind of brought her into like
Yeah,
the
he felt
life.
like a protector, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was like trying to be protective of her and it just became kind of more obsessive. And um like I did like that about that guy and like and then at the end like you're thinking like all's good, like everything's fine, and then he just suddenly shows up and fucks everything up. And they're like, damn, they
Oh
finally have a life
yeah.
together and then they die. Oh then Timothy Chalamet dies.
I think that Sully guy kills Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah. He definitely yeah.
I think that's what happens. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would say definitely be like an odd one to recommend to people. I feel like a lot of people would be like,
Yeah.
"What are we watching? I don't like this." But I think like it's also a slow burner too. It's a very slow burner. So I would say B. Like it'd be a hard one to like. I liked it. I'm kind of hitting for an A, but I think in terms of just like in terms of the grand scale of the movies I've seen, I think it's B is a safe place where it sits.
Yeah.
Okay, Avatar, the Way of Water, or is it the Way of Water or Way of Water, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
Bro, this movie was so long.
no,
Oh
no,
my god.
I'm gonna put it down. I don't. I'm not the biggest fan of the Avatar movies. I think
Yeah.
the first one that came out, um,
The
great
first one
movie,
was good.
right? Like great movie. It came out and like it was way like 10 years ahead of its time, and I think that's what
Yeah.
really set it apart. But I think this one, now that like things have kind of caught up to it, like the plot is a little like, isn't it? They're fighting the same people. Like there's not much difference. Like they're just trying to assimilate into this new community, and they learn how to swim, and they like build a life together. But then like the people come back. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. And then the girl who like even they hinted in the movie like she's like special, so, like she can like manipulate like was it life or like water or it was something where she was like they were hinting that she had powers or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think
Honestly forgot like half of the movie.
yeah, I don't know. I think this one didn't hit as hard as a lot of people did. I had friends that were really about this movie, like, oh, it was such a good movie. Like, I'm gonna go watch it twice, and I was like, once was enough for me. Like, fuck. Like,
Bro, wasn't it like 3 hours or
it's.
something?
I think it was like approaching 3 hours, and I was like, dude,
Oh my
I'm
god.
hard pass. Not great. So
Thank you.
I would. I'm kind of tempted to put it into a C tier because I just again it was so long and it was like I don't know. Maybe I'm just not into the universe, but I just don't think it hit as hard as other people say it did.
Yeah, I say it was like a high C. Almost a B. Almost a B.
Yeah, I would say it's a high C. So, okay, this one, Puss in Boots. Puss in
Puss in
Boots.
Boots. Sorry, I'm gonna yell at Mike. Puss in Boots was so good. Oh my god.
It was a great movie. Great movie. I think like I
Oh
can
my god.
even from the fucking beginning, shit was popping off. He was fucking
I
people up.
cried.
I think I cried at some point too. Like I think toward the
You
end,
just
I
have
was
to
like,
shed a tear.
dude, it's such like a powerful message. Like it was such a good message to the movie. And I think like
Yes.
I think when we watched this movie again, you recommended it, and I was like, we're not watch. Like I remember telling myself, or
Bro,
telling you, I was like, we're not watching no
I know
damn Puss
banger.
in.
I know banger.
And I remember like we're not watching no damn Puss in Boots movie, and you like kept pushing it. You're like, we're like, please, I want to watch it so bad. I was like, okay, fine, whatever, fuck it, we'll watch it. And this is definitely the one where I put my foot in my mouth. But this was a great movie. I think if you haven't seen this movie yet, you need to watch it because it's such a solid movie. Like the beginning starts out
Banger.
banger. The beginning and then dude, the villain in this movie, like
Oh, he's
the
insane.
wolf
Actually
goes
insane.
stupid hard. Such a stupid hard villain. Like his size, like he's like essentially is like he even states in the movies like I am death. Like and he's like I'm not even like not the embody like I don't know how he worded it, but he was like not like I kill a lot of people or like I'm deadly whatever, but he was like I am
Yeah.
death. I am like the embodiment of
He's
death.
both death, like metaphorically and like physically.
Physically. Yes. That's probably how he worded it or something like that. But
Yeah.
like such a cool villain. He was stalking them the entire time, but not in a way that was like super intrusive to the plot. But it was like this guy's out there and he's hunting you, and like even in the beginning, like that's where Puss lost like all his mojo was because he got fucking twagged by this dude. He got bodied by this dude,
Yeah.
and again even like the whole animation, like the change of the plots, like how like I think there was a point in time where like the book or something that they had or the map that they had would change how whoever was holding the map like to their
Yeah.
imagination. I think that was really cool. I think that was really creative, and it
Like
again
character
it just
dynamics
threw
too.
things. It just made things more um like dynamic. So you never
Yeah.
it was never just like the same. Oh, we're just traveling through a forest, or we're just
Very
traveling through a castle. It
versatile.
was like things were just always changing, and like it was like a good change of welcome. And even the ending too. I think I cried toward the ending. It was such a touching message, and I think you'll agree to S tier movie.
S tier. S
I
tier. S
think
tier. S tier. S tier.
yes. Anyone who has like anyone who would listen to me after the fact we watched this movie was like, "Dude, you need to watch this movie." And I try to put
Yep.
as many people who would listen onto this movie, and I think again I think they all came back to me were like, "It was a good movie." Like I actually really did. Like you're welcome because it thoroughly surprised me in the movies. Like that's probably
I know bangers.
one of the best movies, if not the best, or one of the best movies we watched in all this list.
Yep.
So again, go watch Push in Boots: The Last Wish if you haven't already seen it.
Banger.
So I think this is Ant-Man, Quantumania. Again, similar route. Like it's just like
Mid.
it was as mid as it gets. Like fun, cool animation stuff. I think it built a lot of plot of
What was the villain's name again?
Kang the Conqueror, which
Yeah.
again in the comics, if you even just YouTube or look up on Google or YouTube who the King of the Conqueror is, you're gonna get a bunch of like, oh, this is who he is, like, and like he's a very imposing villain, and I would love to see more what was gonna go on with Kang. And I liked the Loki series, and I finished the Loki series, and I got to see more of Kang. But like I wish, like again, like things happened between God, what is his name? Whatever the guy who played Kang, like he things happened between his
Oh.
personal life. He's no longer playing Kang anymore, and they're going a different direction.
Yeah.
But even in this too, like he was supposed to be like the big bad, like the Thanos level threat, and he just wasn't. Like in this movie, he got beat by Ant-Man, and the thing is, like he was super powerful in this movie, and like he wasn't able to get touched by him. Like
Yeah.
no one could have a candle to him, but then for whatever reason, Ant-Man got lucky and defeated him for the time being. I don't want to say like he beat him, but like he just managed to get away.
Yeah.
So Again, if you put it, I guess if you put it in that perspective, like it's not bad, but I don't know. I just like also there was also some like weird points where like they're talking to those other people on the quantum level that were like I don't even know, like just like strange people. It's like strange characters,
I think
strange
there's
creatures. And I don't really remember much of it.
yeah,
They were like mounting an assault on Kang, but it was like who are these people? I don't really care about them. Like they're just some
yeah,
random
I don't
like
know.
cannon fodder. So I would say D tier. Like I there's not much I can say about this. Like it was,
Yeah.
but I did like in the movie when Ant-Man's like in the prison or he's like behind that little he's like in prisons or whatever. And that's where like King really
Okay.
shows like his imposing self, like how strong he really is. I think that was probably the best part of the movie.
I don't remember that, honestly.
And then also Modoc, that one dude, the floating head guy,
Oh,
that was pretty
yes.
silly.
Yep. Super silly.
Yeah, like
Oh my god. That guy reminds me of what was it? The principal in um oh my god, what's
there's like Shockboy and Lava Girl. It reminds you of like
yeah, Shark Boy and Lava
George
Girl.
Lopez in that movie.
Yeah.
So I say this is like C tier, like as C tier as it gets. C tier.
Yeah.
So
Like the middest of mid.
yeah. Okay. Also, this one was supposed to be a high B. So okay, and then Cocaine Bear. That
Dog shit.
dog shit. Like
Dog shit.
there's like novelty when it comes to bad movies that like oh it's a bad movie whatever, but like I don't even know what there's nothing redeemable about this movie. I think there were some parts where like the bear was chasing some of the people, but like other than that, I don't remember.
It was silly, but it wasn't like they tried so hard to make it funny that it just wasn't at all.
Yeah, I think everything that it tried to do it felt flat. And I think the only good scene that I remember was when the bear was killing the lady in the cabin. I think that was like the kind of the coolest part of the movie for me. And I think when they was like chasing the other people, oh, the dude was in the tree trying to get away from the
Oh
bear, but
yeah.
the bear can obviously climb trees. Um, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't. I was like, I don't. And then like even like toward the end, I was like, what are they doing? Why are they throwing shit off the fucking
Yeah.
waterfall? Like it's like parts of it just didn't make sense, and I was like, this is just
And the
like,
Cubs.
yeah. And I was just like, I don't like this. Like this is not great. So,
Yeah.
um, D tier on a straight D tier. Not much else to say about it. Yeah, it's just a bad movie. Don't watch it.
I kind of wish we got or you got your money refunded because we really shouldn't have gone seeing that movie.
Yeah, it was. As Scream 6. So again, another your choice. So
Yeah.
um,
You can really see which movies I've chose.
yeah, and this is prevalent to keep going too. Um,
Yeah.
it was
I
okay.
think
It was okay.
yeah. I really like I mean obviously in like other Scream movies they try to um insert like old characters from like the first couple movies. And I kind of I liked it, but like you can kind of guess that they are probably going to be part of like the murders or like planning the murders. So like mm, I want something a little bit different.
If again, like you said too, like I feel like they try to include the previous movies, but I feel like again, and I think in like the final in the theater, whatever that they were in toward the end. Also
Mhm.
too, that dude getting stabbed like 8, 10 times,
Oh,
like
and he's
actively
like,
getting stabbed, and he was like, "Run, go!" and
bro,
like
he's
was
insane.
sacrificing himself. Like, there's no way in hell that dude
There's
survived.
no
Like,
way.
I remember we were in the movie theater, and they were like, "Dude is dead as hell. Like, here's no way he's coming
That is
back." And
hell.
then he's just getting wheeled on a stretcher at the end. It's like, dude, there's no way that you're
No,
alive.
run.
And I was like, no. And then again, like you were talking about earlier too, like where they include parts of the previous movies. I feel like there's merit. There's like it's a good idea to do that, especially when you have such a long series like Scream or say Halloween. That makes sense. Like there's such a there's a lot of like film history with those movies. But I feel like even the theater, like they just jam packed a bunch of like random like Scream, like previous like oh the mask, the costume, the knife, like all these like random like memorabilia, and it would just feel like it
Yeah.
was calling back on too much of the the history of the movies versus making any of its own.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. Also, too, just like some of the injuries in this movie too. Like no one was in. Like people would get stabbed. Like getting stabbed is, and especially
Yeah.
like the bleeding that comes with stabbing. Like you're not gonna be like running around like they were. Like they were just getting stabbed. And we're like, cool. I can get stabbed at least 6 more times. And I think
Like
Jenna Ortega in
stabbing.
the movie got stabbed like 4 times in the last scene and
Yeah.
just kept running
Yeah. Like
around.
she was walking.
Yeah, she was running around. I was like, dude, you're like if you're
Yeah.
stabbed, like there's no way you
Bro,
can
you're
do all that.
dead. Like
Yeah.
just get on the floor and lay down.
So for me, I think
Um.
it's a pretty C tier movie. I would say
Yeah.
it's like a low C tier. Like it's like mid to low. I would
Yeah.
still put it honestly. I would put it in front of Quantumania though.
Yeah. I think so too.
So okay, next one is Creed 3. So I'm a big fan of the Rocky movies. I've seen the Rocky movies,
Yeah.
all of them, multiple times. You can
I
attest.
literally have a poster.
I have a Rocky poster in my room because it's just a great series. I think like what Sylvester Stallone was able to do with the whole Rocky films, groundbreaking, great movies. And I think the first Creed movie was a strong mark for the Creed series. Um, I think what happened with the second one? Oh, he fought Drago's son. Second one was not as great, but good. But then the third one, I feel like again, I think this was the first one where Sylvester Stallone wasn't directly involved in it,
Yeah.
because I think he had read the script and was like, this is not something I can like co-sign or not something I can go along with. If you're gonna do this, you're not gonna do it with me, which I think was a good way to think because like it didn't hit, and I think Michael B. Jordan directed most of this movie, and I think it not
Oh,
to say
I
it's
love Michael
bad.
B. Jordan.
He's a great dude. Not to say it's bad, but I think like he's if this is his way of or his style of directing, I think it's just a bit young. And I think like to take on such a big franchise such as Creed, I think that's kind of a hard deal to make it stand out as much as other movies, as long as the other strong movies that have, especially like the Rocky movies, like they're hard to follow up.
Yeah.
So, not to say that it was bad, but it was just like I felt a bit rushed. I feel like it, like the guy like even like toward the end too, like where the reason why like Michael B. Jordan or like Creed felt so much guilt was because like the guy took the fall for him. Um, it yeah, like it kind of didn't. It was like yeah, but then even like the final boxing scene, which is again the reason why you watch these movies is to watch them duke it out. Um,
Yeah.
it was like in an empty stadium. There was like no one around. It just felt
Yeah, I,
weird.
I thought
Like
that was kind of weird.
it like again, you watch any of the other movies, it's just traditional boxing. Like no, okay, not traditional, but is like a traditional boxing fight, like a major card fight. Whereas this one was like there's no one there, and I think maybe that was the point where like they didn't want to like see anyone. But I don't even know if there was like people there. Again I don't remember, but
There was like a small crowd, I think.
I don't remember. But then all I remember is them like a lot of slow motion shots, a lot of just like I don't even know. Like it wasn't, and I think even like the training scene was super like not as like there should have been more of the training scene because again that's what Rocky's known for. You see Rocky 4, Rocky 1, Rocky 3, Rocky 3 especially when Apollo is training with Rocky. Like that's such a great scene. Um Soundtracks that come along with these movies and Gonna Fly Now. I don't even remember if it was in the movie. And I think maybe it's because I love the Rocky movies that I have such a strong opinion about this movie, but I don't know. I just didn't looking back on Rocky 1, I mean no, Creed 1 when he's fighting Ricky Conlan and you go to Ivan Drago or like not just Drago, Victor Drago I think his name. I can't remember his name, but Like those were again very traditional, like what you would expect in a Rocky movies, and they did it fairly well. Versus this one where like the fight scene was just not it. The training scene was not great, and I don't know, I just didn't know. I would I would say like it's definitely above. I want to say like a high C tier, like almost B, but C tier.
Yeah, I think it's a in the
I don't-
middle of Smile and Halloween Ends.
Yeah, like it's not. There was a lot of potential to this movie, and I maybe I was just expecting more, but I don't. I just like I didn't like it. It was like I wanted to like it so bad, but I couldn't. So okay, I'm excited for this one.
John Wick.
I fucking love John Wick. John Wick is the shit.
Cookie.
Yeah, like John Wick 1, 2, 3. Like again, like they're all good contenders on their own. And
Just banger after banger after banger and after bang.
yes, I know bangers. And
Yep.
it's like I remember I was talking with our dad about the first one, and I don't remember if I saw the first one in theaters, but I remember watching it, and I was like, wow, like again, like it's Keanu Reeves as an assassin or something like that, and it's like he's played roles in The Matrix, he's played a lot of action films where, oh, he's just an assassin dude, whatever.
He's just that guy.
Well, not even, and then that's what you learned in the first movie. It's like, oh, he's just this assassin dude, whatever, and then like people are building him up to be this like super mythical person who like is super well known in the underworld or the criminal underworld, and then I don't think you really understand like how like they're hyping him up. They're like, dude, he's the best of the best, blah 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 blah. And then I think the scene, the house scene in the first movie, people were not expecting how good the action to be because I mean that style that's even today like that's a whole style of like got like action gunfighting in movies is to have those kind of more dynamic kind of action sequences where they're I don't know. It just seems like it kind of changed like how gunplay is done in movies ever since the first one came out, and I don't think people were expecting how good the first one to be and start this whole series. Um, I think for this one, I think it's great. I'm trying to remember how it starts. Oh, he's like in the desert, but I think it gets a little kind of convoluted when you're like in Osaka, like in Japan, and like John
Oh
Wick just
yeah.
happens to move continents like it's nothing. Um, I think that's just like, I mean, maybe they're just trying to further the plot because it was kind of a longish movie. I think it was like two-ish hours and some change. But I guess as you expect with John Wick movies, great action. Um, they got interesting characters. The main villain of the movie was like the I don't even know if he was like the guy above the table, but well, I guess he wasn't because there was like that Middle Eastern person. But he was like the new head of the high table, and John Wick was trying to get out, and like he was the one hunting him. But again, action sequences are great. I think that kind of this it scales up of what the height of the criminal underworld is like the bodyguards all had the same suits that John did. Also the blind guy Kane, that guy went crazy. Like
Oh, he's insane.
Donnie Yen, I've seen. I think I don't think I've seen all the Ip Man movies, but I've seen I think 4 of them. Like he goes crazy. He's crazy good at his movies. Like anytime he's in an action film, I know it's great. So for me, the part that stood out to me in this movie was probably when John Wick was in Paris and he's just like fighting people all throughout Paris. Just like a whole city is after him, which again is probably the plot in most of the films. But the whole city essentially was after him in Paris. And that little top down kind of shot that they had of the house or that apartment in Paris, and John Wick has the shotgun with the dragon breath rounds, and they had that iconic song from the first movie from the club scene, "Shots Fired," which fucking love that song. Just going in. You just, John Wick's doing his thing. He's fucking people up. Dude, it's crazy. I love that part. And yeah, I guess I for me, kind of a fitting end to the series. I think if John were to be alive, I think it wouldn't kind of do the film justice or like the series justice. Maybe, but you don't even know if he's dead because they didn't show him die on screen. So,
Yeah, they didn't.
but I think like if they were to call it quits here, it was really solid run. If they want to stretch into a John Wick 5, I'm still down for that too. So I vote again for me. Maybe I'm a little biased, but again, I think a lot of people, maybe some people might agree. Also, I don't want to wrap this up yet, but the fucking stairs.
I love the stairs scene, bro.
And I think I don't know. I feel like there was probably parts of that, and I think people that was like some of the common complaints about John Wick was like, dude, he's getting beat up all the time, and
He
like,
always gets up.
yeah, he always gets up, and like, there's no way he can do all that. And I think like they kind of fell into that little kind of criticism, like they kind of leaned into it, whereas
Yeah.
because like I mean like the kind of the redundant him like he fell down those stairs twice, and like the continual roll all the way back to the bottom.
At least 100 flights of stairs.
Yes. And
Like, it was insane.
yeah, so I think they kind of leaned into it, which I think was kind of a good thing because it was like, this is still a movie. This is still like, a larger than life movie or whatever. And I think like, and again, also too, I didn't just, so it was like a testament of the character that John Wick, or the Keanu Reeves was playing was like John Wick. He doesn't, this man is known for his will. So,
Yeah. And like how old is John Wick in the movies?
I don't
He's
think they
supposed to be
ever,
like,
I probably like mid 40s. I don't know.
yeah, like 40, 50s.
Probably, but he still got it. He still got it.
Bro, if you were 40 or like 50 and you fell down 100 flights of stairs, you would be in the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. But he gets up. He gets up every time.
But he's just different. He's
He
built different.
built better and different. So I would say S tier. Automatic S tier. Great movie. I liked it. I don't know what you think.
Loved it. I like how they added, I think in every John Wick movie, well, yeah, in every John Wick movie, they really play with like lighting and ambient lighting. They don't really use like super hard lighting unless it's like a very dramatic scene. And these are a lot of colors, and I like that because I think in most, well, from what I see in most action movies, it's mostly like fluorescent lighting, not really. It's literally the opposite, like not colorful. It's just dark and scary and green and dark blues. There's not action scenes in John Wick, like the John Wick series, like makes it better.
And that's, I feel like, what's with the John Wick series, like it's kind of changed how action sequences are shot. Because
Yeah.
again, I think if you look at Extraction, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. That was a movie that came out on Netflix with Chris Hemsworth. Like you can tell the heavy influence that John Wick had on that movie. Like active reloads in like long shots. He's firing his gun. He runs out of ammo. A quick reload, like stuff like that. Like all these big action sequences that like they all have to be cohesive for them to make sense. And I think people are starting to appreciate the long shots. I'm sure they're a pain in the ass to film and to coordinate, but they hit pretty hard when it comes to action movies, and I think that that's what John Wick pioneered that.
I think like a good example of this would be Bullet Train, because Bullet Train uses a lot of colors too.
Yeah, and also too, I think in the second one too, in that tunnel scene when he's like fighting those people in the tunnel, like they're not using any direct hard lighting on him, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I remember they have like those like it's like safety lights, I guess, whatever you could say, like in the tunnel. They're like, yeah, it's like, but it's like a soft blue, so it's not like like completely illuminated. It's like you're trying to see what you're trying to make out what you can, and again, as a what you would think, like if you're in that scenario, John Wick, like you don't have the greatest lighting, like you're just
Yeah,
shooting of what
you're
like you're
limited.
just yeah you're limited lighting, but again like he's just so good that he's worked in different lighting situations where low light,
Yeah,
bright light, like he's just that good.
he just has night vision. Just randomly just got it one day, and he's like, boom.
The next one was the Mario movie. Um,
Really good.
yeah, I would say it was solid. I think that I remember we came pretty late. I don't remember like again I don't think I've ever even seen the beginning, but I remember we got there pretty late and like Mario was essentially like it was like after the commercial came out or something like he was getting made fun of.
Yeah,
Um,
they were like talking to like their whole family about it.
yeah, yeah, and I think it's a fun way to explore the universe. I think they got a lot of the basics down. Um, like Mario and his brother Luigi, they're just plumbers. But again, it kind
Yeah,
of makes sense. Like they're plumbers, but then they go down in this, forgotten tunnel in New York somewhere.
I think it was like a sewer. I think.
Like it was like a service line or something like that. And they get sucked into this
Yeah,
like imaginary world, and that's how this imaginary world kind of exists. Like it's not just like this fictional. I mean, it is fictional, but this world exists in a different dimension, I guess, in a way. Um, and it draws a lot of like fun little things like Mario Kart's a big thing in the movie. Diddy
mm,
Kong, Donkey Kong, Grandpa Kong, I think his name is. And something too that like I feel like I never really saw or like never really thought of, but I feel like kind of makes sense in the movie was that Bowser, like the whole reason why he does the things he does is because he's in love with Peach, and like he gets really like that's the reason why he tries to capture her is because he's in love with her, and like that kind of makes sense when like he's like, why are you doing this? Like, oh, so she can marry me, so I want to ask her to marry me. It's like that's the reason why he's doing everything is because he loves Peach. Um,
I think the casting for this movie was really good. Like casting Jack Black as Bowser, that's amazing.
the thing is, I think we were in the movie theater. And I was like, is this Jack Black? I remember whispering to you. I was like, does this sound like Jack Black? And I was like, I swear it is. And then I think toward the end of it, I think we saw like the credits and we saw Jack Black. I was like, I fucking knew it was Black. Like, oh, Jack Black. Sorry, but do remember in the beginning of the movie when Mario and Luigi got separated was when Luigi went down that little forest or whatever. If you've played Luigi's Mansion in the beginning of that game, he's like in this really like scraggly, decrepit forest, and he's getting stalked and chased by these ghosts, and it kind of happens. Um, I hope they get the wind of doing a Luigi's Mansion movie. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be good.
So I would say this one is probably high B. I would put high B.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, um, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I thought this one was good. I think the thing about I feel like with Marvel movies, they don't really they give you kind of like the surface level emotional investment in characters. Um, I think the only reason why people were really touched about Tony Stark dying was because they've known him. He was like the first one, and he was
Yeah.
original. He was whatever, and that's what hit hard for his death. Whereas this one, like, you meet Guardians of the Galaxy like way deep into like phase two, and you're like, oh, these like cool characters, but then you learn more about Rocket. Like, I think that's what people really draw in this movie. Draw people in this movie is because you learned about Rocket and were like invested in like like how he got the way that he was, and I feel like that's kind of a thing that's talked about in the other movies. But I think that's the fact that it's explored in this movie and done really well, and like you're so emotionally tied to what's going on or how it happened. Like great, like chef's kiss, like how it was done, and it like he again like you have some talk about the other characters, but um I think that
We're supposed to
since
focus on Rocket.
yeah with Rocket being the focus, and I think like that was he was also one probably I think people like a favorite of most people was Rocket. Um, I think yeah, I think that they went the right direction. It was definitely a direction I wasn't expecting, but it was a good direction.
I also like the other animals in like the what was it called? I don't remember what it's called, but like in the cage that they were in.
Hmm.
That was like kind of his first family,
Hmm.
and um, it's really nice to see, a different side of Rocket. Like like he's supposed to be like this tough little tiny animal. You get to see a soft spot. The other guardians.
Okay, I think your mic is cutting out. You're getting a little spaticky, but yeah, I think yeah, just seeing the soft spot of Rocket and like you can kind of tell in the previous movies there's some trauma with him. That fact that it's explored in such this way, like so great. Like I would put this in A tier. I would say like again above the menu, probably not above Bullet Train, but
Yeah.
there. Okay, so I feel like you probably guessed it at this point. I'm sure you can know whose pick of the movie was this one was.
Yup.
So I'll let you lead on this one.
I just saw I didn't know what it was about. I was like, let's just go see the scary movie. Uh,
All right, hold on.
uh,
Your mic is cutting out pretty bad.
oh, okay. Hold on, let me fix it. Is it better?
Yeah, it sounds better.
Hello? Wait. I think I just picked it because I just wanted to see another horror movie. Um, but I really like. I think it was the opening. I don't know if it was the opening scene, but the scene where they're at that um lake house where they like introduce the demon. And like how like it floats above the water or walks on the water, and then like the title just raises up behind the hills and says "Evil Dead Rise." I thought it was so cool.
That was really cool, and like the scene turns like orange red. So the thing
Yeah.
is, I was like looking at. So after we watched that movie, I went into DaVinci Resolve, which is the video editing software that I use, and I looked up like a video of how to do that. It's pretty elaborate. It's not, and it you can there's definitely instructionals how to do it, but I was like, damn, like the scale of it was really cool, and the music that was a really cool scene. I remember that. Like it started out pretty strong. I remember that.
Yeah.
But how did you feel about the rest of the movie?
I think it was pretty good. Uh, I'm a big fan of like gore in horror movies. Like I really love the Saw series. Um, I think the gore was pretty good. Like I think the glass scene where um one of the kids are like they start getting possessed and like start getting the glass and like eating it and like they throw up like the black stuff. I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes as well. Um, that other character, the one with like the super blonde hair. Um, I just like that character in general. Um, I like they collect all like a lot of vinyls, and when they come across the record of like the exorcism, I thought that how they like tied the character between like the start of the plot or the rising action to the plot or to the climax. I thought that was really good.
the thing I like about this movie was that it was. I think I did like the gore. I would say I think it was really well done. I think maybe I'm a bit on the opposite spectrum when it comes to gore. I think that it was again, it wasn't. It didn't take. It added more to the movie than I feel like it took away from it. Um, but I think I also like the sense of like realism in the movie. Like things were going on. Like the lady was always trying to find different ways to get inside the house because I mean that was her whole point was to possess or kill her kids or something like that. Um, and I thought it was interesting, like the fact that like all the things that happened, and I've also too like there were some points in the movie where like people were stabbed and like trying to run away, but then I felt like the chase of the demon was super slow. They're like running into the living room, and then like 10 seconds later they come inside or they come into the living room.
Yeah, I think they use a lot of suspense really well.
But yeah, the mom was pretty powerful. Like I don't think they ever really talked about the demon that possessed her, but it was like a strong demon.
Yeah, I can hear Appa in the background.
Yeah, I know him.
Is he like scratching at the, the bed?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Uh, okay, so
Um,
what would you put it? I'll let you rank this one.
mm, I think I give this one like a higher B.
Higher B. Would you put it above the Mario movie, or would you put it above Butts and Bones and all?
I think above Bones and all,
I
because
can
I didn't really have any. Yeah,
I can
I didn't really have any expectations with this movie. So
I can roll that one. So Into the Spider Verse. For maybe it's just because for me with this one, I again the first one great, really good, and not to say that this one wasn't good at all either, but I felt like there wasn't that much of a message in this one. Like the theme of it was just kind of like, oh, we're just gonna explore the Spider Verse and like bring in all these fun characters. Whereas I feel like for this one, the other one, the whatever one the first one was called, it was like a coming of age movie, and I feel like
yeah,
it was like, again I still remember like the Peter, the not the homeless looking Peter, like his whole
Miles.
thing was like
Oh,
it was always like Miles, all it is a leap of faith, and like I feel like that was a strong message, and like that's when Peter became or Miles became Spider-Man. And so this one was just kind of like elaborating on the universe, and I think that's what people wanted. And so I think for this one, it just seemed like for me, maybe it's just the animation style, but everything just felt so busy. I think it was good. I love the Mimic, or what's that one? Blotchman? I can't remember what the overall villain is, guy.
Spot.
But yes. So I
Yeah.
thought like as he grew stronger, like the animation style of him as a person, or like his powers was really cool. I was like, damn, this guy's like no joke, like almost omnipotent. Like this guy is like getting incredibly strong. But
Um, I think. Well, I kind of have to disagree with you because this movie was. I mean, towards it was more towards the end where like Miles realizes his dad is like going to die. It's like kind of inevitable. Like everyone is reminding him that his dad is going to die because when he becomes the chief of police, I think.
mhm.
Because remember he like goes into a different universe and he meets himself when um like instead of him becoming Spider-Man, he becomes what was his uncle's character?
I couldn't tell you, but I know
Uh
who you're talking about, like the purple and black guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he became him instead and his uncle is alive.
Prowler. That's what his name is, Prowler.
Yeah, Prowler, yeah. Yeah, Miles becomes Prowler in the universe he visits and he's like trying to tell his dad to tell himself that his dad is going to die. Like there's no way around it.
I thought it was
Oh,
good. I again, I think like the animation style was good. I think like what was going on. I don't know. I feel like the I don't know. Like there's a part of me that like again really liked it, but it's I don't know. Like I feel like maybe I just don't have a really actual good complaint, or maybe I just wasn't watching in the state of mind that I should have had it when I should have been watching it. But I for me, I think of what to say, but I think it was a good movie. I just think that it could have the I don't know. I think they could have. I don't want to say done more, but I don't know. Like
it's a
I
good
wasn't like
movie
completely sold on it for
to.
some reason.
I think it was a good movie to. Was it? What's the word? It's like a.
Like follow up or
Yeah, it's like a good follow up to the next movie.
I am excited for what this movie is gonna what the next edition or the next movie part of the movie is gonna be. And I remember when they like announced that this movie was coming out. What like it came out in last September or something like that or August. I cannot remember when the movie came out, but um I remember it was like going to be like 8 months later. The second part, the first part of the last movie was going to come out. And I was like, damn, that's a really quick turnaround. Like, they must have really been grinding at this for a couple years, or this entire time ever since
Yeah.
the first one came out. The first one came out, but then they announced shortly after that they're not releasing it anytime soon, like at least in 2025, because the overload, like the people who worked for this one, like the crunch time as they call it was so significant that like people were quitting because it was just like I can't like they were working like 100 hour weeks 120-hour weeks just to get the movie done,
Yeah.
and people were
I think
definitely not pleased about that.
I think I saw something either on TikTok where people were saying there's like different versions of this movie. So like kind of emulate there's different universes because obviously there's not going to be like the same thing
Mm-hmm.
in a different universe. They kind of it's not really a big big difference between these versions. It was mostly like smaller details. But I think that was like kind of cool that they had different versions that they showed in theaters.
That is cool. I mean, it's just like the slight variation of the universe.
Yeah.
um so I would say this is A tier above Guardians of the Galaxy though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's Spider-Man, like it's a good strong points. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. For me, I feel like I was more touched on the emotional side of Guardians of the Galaxy than I was with Spider Man. So, but it was still good nonetheless. Um, the Flash. So the thing about the DC movies or the DC cinematic movies, what I like is like I think their action is pretty great. I think like they at least maybe I'm thinking this in reference to the Man of Steel. Great movie. I really like the movie when the Kryptonians were fighting the military, and you get to the scene of Doomsday versus Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman. Like I think they're really showcase like really good parts of. I think for this one, like there wasn't much of any of that.
Yeah. I mean, it was only in like that small fight scene between Flash, Batman, and what was her other name?
I think it's just Supergirl.
Yeah. I think that was mostly the only action scene I remember.
And then just like the CGI, it just felt like I guess the CGI felt rushed. Also, I'm not a big fan of how fucking Flash runs. It's goofy as hell.
It is kind of goofy.
It's goofy as hell. And yeah, I don't know. I think that it was just I wasn't expecting much considering the whole press that was coming out of it, but I like
I like how they
I'm a big
added
Batman fan.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, like Michael
I
Keaton
like
coming back, putting on the cowl was pretty
yeah,
great,
I like that.
and them introducing Kal-El, like Superman's cousin. Again, I don't know if that's gonna mean anything in the next couple movies, but that was nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, um, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because there's not much really about it. Like it was just very shit. Um, but also just like kind of reminiscent of like the Flashpoint paradox, where things were different because Flash went in the past, and that's the whole thing is that you can't mess with the past.
Yeah,
So
I think I'd put this at like a C.
yeah, I weekend where would you put it in the C? There's a lot of movies in the C column.
Um, I think between Violent Night and Halloween Ends.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Exactly what.
I just think alike.
Okay,
Our minds are synced up right now. We're locked in.
locked in. So this one, to be honest, I don't remember much about this movie. Like it was pretty.
The Transformers movie?
Yeah, I don't remember much. I remember like the Beast came out. I don't remember why they were fighting. I don't remember who the fucking villain was.
I don't remember anything, honestly.
I remember about Bumblebee at the end kind of fucking shit up. He was like, hooking and
Or he was
jabbing.
crazy.
Yeah, he went crazy, but that's kind of all I remember. I don't remember anything about the plot at all, actually.
He always goes crazy though.
So I think if there's a consensus of like we can't remember what happened, then maybe it's the DT.
Yeah.
It was just like again, the Transformer movies used to be so great. Like they were like the talk of the town. Like everyone was like, "Damn, these shits are popping. These are great." Fucking.
Yeah.
But now I can't remember what the fuck this movie's about. Okay, so next we're gonna go Barbie. I
Oh
actually really
yeah.
like this. I like this movie.
It had a great message. Like amazing message.
Yes, yes, great message. Um, positivity, woman, and I think it seems pretty stupid. I think a lot of people were expecting. I mean, I don't know if people were expecting it to be too stupid, but again, if you just hear a Barbie movie, I think maybe the premise comes off a bit shallow. It's just a girl living a dream or whatever. But I think they really went into like what it means to be Barbie and the different kinds of Barbie, and everyone is Barbie. Um, but again, Ryan Gosling, as he always does, he fucking kills it. Like I think when we were watching the movie, I was laughing. I was audibly laughing at Ryan Gosling, and I hope that they do a Ken movie because again, with the way he portrayed Ken was like great. I think a lot of people weren't expecting it, but it was a good surprise when it did happen.
Yeah. I think I have a lot to say on the Barbie movie because I remember recently at the Golden Globes. I don't know who the freak that guy was, but he was like comparing Oppenheimer and like Barbie, like how Oppenheimer was about the freaking nuclear bomb or whatever, and then it was like Barbie was only about a plastic doll with boobies.
Mm.
So obviously that guy missed the whole like message of the movie and like how it like what because the whole movie was just about how women are perceived in like society and how they have to like keep up with themselves, and if they're not looking a certain way then they're kind of pushed out of like they're not really following the quote unquote um, guidelines of how a woman should look and be
Yeah,
like and act like.
yeah, and I feel like at least what I took from this movie is like everyone is Barbie. Like I mean, if women like if like you're a Barbie no matter what kind of Barbie you are, and again, it's kind of the same thing with Ken. Like you're Ken regardless of what version of Ken you are. Um, so I again I was I think a lot of myself and a lot of other people were pleasantly surprised that this movie was as strong as it was.
Yeah, this movie was like very inclusive.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the main Barbies, I know one of them was transgender, and I really like how they included that because most transgender women are like pushed out of the category of being a woman, and
Hmm.
I just really appreciate it how they included those.
Yeah. I like this movie a lot. I think this was a movie of the year, one of the movies of the year. So, um, I would put for me, I put Barbie above Spider Man, but below Bullet Train. What do you say?
I say above Bullet Train.
No, I can rock with that. Okay, so you're gonna have to remind me of this one. That I think it's the Nun, right? The Nun 2.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about what the nun was about. But I think it's the nun is just about like oh my god, hold on. I literally have to look it up because I don't remember anything. I've watched the nun at least one time. Um, I don't know. Would I like? Obviously, this is part of the Conjuring series, and it's going to like deal with like religious memorabilia.
Dude, I can.
Um,
I. Part of me believes I don't think I watched this movie with you, but you said we did.
I swear we did. Or
This
maybe
one,
I'm just mixing it up with um what was the other one? Ray Ray something.
dude, beats me. I don't know. This is gonna be one for you to rank. So this is all on you.
I don't know. I mean, in the Conjuring series, I feel like the nun is not really mentioned as much as the other characters like Annabelle. So I guess I'd give this a C, like a lower C,
Lower
just
C.
because
Where'd you put it? Like above Scream, below Scream,
I think below it.
above Quantumania?
Yeah, because honestly, it's like the nun is kind of forgettable.
Yeah. Again, that was all on you. So,
I
okay,
don't
this one
remember.
I'm excited for. This one, Blue Beetle. Great
Oh,
movie.
oh my god, I love Blue
Great
Beetle so
movie.
much.
Yes, great movie. I think maybe this kind of hits more so at home because we're Hispanic, and I think this is like the first real movie where there's like a strong like a the lead role is a Hispanic person. Um,
Yeah, and he has like such a um I wouldn't say Mexican name, but like it's not really common
gonna be honest, I don't
because
remember his name.
the actor's name is Cholo, not Cholo, Cholo starts with an X, so like obviously I was gonna be Mexican.
Um, but yeah, I remember like I cried in this movie. Like it was just
Yeah,
like the again maybe again I feel like again we're probably a bit biased, but just like what we grew up as kids, like what was stressed to us, the importance of family and whatnot, and how that's portrayed in the movie. Like it's stuff that we've been exposed to, you know, directly, and I feel like that was like it was touching to see that it was put on in a movie. And
the representation was very strong in this movie.
yeah, like I think again the scene where you know you're talking to the dad was like talking to the son and kind of trying to give guidance, and they're sharing a beer, sharing a drink together. Like I've more times than I can count. Like I've done that with my dad.
Yeah, that was like the equivalent of like dad being super drunk at a party, and he has your arm around your shoulder, and he's like, you know, you're Mexican, and you have to take that with you, okay? Don't let anyone say anything else.
Yeah, yeah. There was. I felt a lot of that when I was watching the movie, and I think that's what kind of made me emotional enough to cry. Like I didn't sob, but I was like definitely touched, like a sensitive place.
A tear definitely came down your cheek.
Yeah, I did. I'll be first one to admit that. Um, so I would put this like again, like the action was not bad. Like I think a lot
Yeah.
of people kind of shitted on this movie unnecessarily. I think it wasn't the best movie overall. It wasn't as great as say as Glass Onion, John Wick, or Puss in Boots, or Into the Spider Verse. But I think the representation that it did for the Hispanic community and as a Hispanic like superhero, I don't think we've heard it since then. And I
Yeah.
think it broke. I don't would say it broke a lot of ground. I don't think it really did, but I think it was just nice to see that representation and see that sense of strong Mexican culture in like a modern blockbuster movie.
I
And I
can't
think I
I
think that's
mean,
what was kind of resonated and screamed with like what people were kind of relaying. What people who've experienced this, like people were like, this is a good, really good representation of what how Mexican families are, like how close they can
yeah,
be.
I think it just we just needed this movie as like being Hispanic. There's not many movies like this. So just to add on, especially this movie being like in the DC universe, I think it's very nice to have.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I would say A tier, and I would put it right below Barbie. That's where I would put it.
Yeah, I think so too. Bro, I think I watched that movie like 3 times in theaters.
Blue Beetle.
Yep.
Oh, I've only seen it the one time that we went. Okay, so since this is obviously your movie, what do you want to start? How do you want to start this one?
Um, liked it. it. I mean, again, there's like so many Saw movies that I can't really
There's like
talk
this is
about. Like,
10. Saw 10. I remember like
yeah,
I don't even remember. I think I lost count after like six, five, six. Like there,
yeah.
this one was good. I
I
think
mean,
it.
Jigsaw is getting old,
Yeah,
obviously.
I don't know. I think this is one of the less strong additions to the
I
Saw
think this is
movies.
like it's kind of like Halloween Ends. Like
Yeah, yeah. Like it was
there needs
just
to
like
be a stop to like this long ass
series.
series of movies.
Um, and I don't know if they're stopping because I feel like at the end of it, it was like kind of tough. But also, this movie also played in a weird little part of like Jigsaw was still alive and he was still training like
Yeah,
his
he was like,
predecessor. It was like such a weird part of the movies. I think it's like it's in between like three or four or five or something like that. It just plays a weird and like a lot transpired too, where like he did this whole thing in Mexico. Um,
yeah, that was so weird.
it's just such a weird solo side quest that they did. Um, to get revenge on these people. Um,
They put like when he was in Mexico, did they put that weird orangey filter on him?
that's how all Mexican filters are. All Mexican films are
Yeah.
like anything. Yeah, that's just the filter they put on. Is like to put on a more deserty thing, which is I get it, makes sense. I think I don't know if Narcos ever did it. I would imagine Narcos
I
probably
think
did it.
they did.
Um,
Definitely they did.
but I don't know. It was such a weird part of the. It played. It happened in such a weird part of the franchise, and I don't know. Like it just was odd. But I mean, it was decent enough. Like I didn't think it was
Yeah.
bad, but it was like, did we really need another Saw movie in such a weird spot?
Yeah. Like when I saw this, like, how is this guy still alive? Like actually, how is he still alive?
I thought he was really old when the movies first came out.
That's what I thought too.
So, um, this one I'm probably gonna put like probably behind Violent Night as C tier.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hmm.
I honestly would put it a little bit lower.
Yeah, I would say maybe after Scream. Like that's probably where I put
Yeah.
it. Because it's just like it was like a. Oh, I guess they released another Saw movie. Okay. Five Nights at
Malas
Freddy's. Five
Afares.
Nights at
Malas
Freddy's.
Afares. Horror,
So.
horror, horror, horror.
um. So I think it's fair to say that we're both fairly big fans of Five Nights at Freddy's.
I love
I've
Malas
I've
Afares.
admittedly only ever played maybe one or two games. I've only ever played the first one maybe once or twice. Yeah, but I've played
What?
um the only one I really got into was Security Breach, and that's a really good game. Like I actually thought that was a um solid,
Did you
like
say it
great.
was like your favorite game out of all of them?
Again, it's the only one that I've really played. I mean, there's that one and the first one. So again, like I've watched the MatPat videos. I've watched game theory videos on this game for years, and um the thing is, and I feel like this has been said about this movie already, but as a video game adaptation, like it's not bad.
Yeah,
It's
it's not
not
that bad.
bad. And I maybe again like I feel like I'm a little biased, but like I just feel like with the movie, I feel like if they want to expand on it, but I feel like they're sitting good ground if they want to go further with it because I think it'd be really cool to see like the Pizzaplex from Security
Oh
Breach
yeah.
happen. I think that'd be really cool. I think if they could get that level of production to happen with the Pizzaplex, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So, and again, like playing that game is, you play as if you have the chance to play Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, play it. It's a good game. It's it's just good horror game. Like it's good. Like I think you'll like. I think most people would like the. If you like horror games, I think you like it because it's not superly overly like the main controls of Five Nights at Freddy's that you might know, like clicking on cameras, doing little certain actions to stop the animatronics. It's like a runaway from the animatronics and devise a
They're
way
not
of how to
like
stop them.
stationed in one place.
Yeah, it's
They
not
can
this.
actually move.
Yeah, it's not like a point and click stationary thing. So that's what really drew me into the game, and I feel like they'll lay good ground if they ever really want to do that. Which I don't know. Which again, this movie was received really well, and I think it blew
100%.
it blew the budget that it got. Um, so that it made tons of money. So I can't imagine they wouldn't
Yeah.
want to make another one.
I think with this one again, with like casting as well as like the Mario movie, the casting was really good.
Yeah. One
Because
thing that
Matthew Lillard as
yeah
fucking Michael Afton,
yeah
bro.
purple guy.
Yep.
Can you what the
Oh my, what the freak was that?
is it you?
No.
Hold on. So I don't know what that was. Anyways, also too, Vanessa.
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 She's literally so pretty.
I
Oh
didn't
my
know
freaking
at the
god.
time, but I've been watching you, and she's the girl in the first from the first season.
Oh.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Hmm.
So I was like, saw her, and I was like, Vanessa. And then I watched like
Vanessa.
I started getting like you TikToks on my For You page like a week ago, and it was like the girl. Her name is Beck in You, and they played like little fan clips of her. But then they showed like her in a police uniform. I was like, wait, that's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Why is she here,
But I
guys?
was like, wait,
Love
oh, I was like,
her.
oh, she's actually Vanessa from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Vanessa.
So I think for Five Nights at Freddy's, I feel like it's for me, it's B tier, but it's right below Super Mario Bros. Even though Super Mario
Wow,
Bros was
I'd say
way done, way
I'd say
better.
A,
You did
like a
A,
low A. But like I think above the menu. That's where it
really?
should go. Yeah, for me, for me.
Um, I just think like the production. Like I think if you compare it to Super Mario Bros, like
Yeah, but it's also Super Mario Bros. Was not edited. It was animated,
true,
so they had they had more freedom to do a lot of things. And with Five Nights at Freddy's, they the the set was really good. I like the whole pizza, not the pizza box, the
the pizzeria.
pizzeria. That's literally how I would imagine it looking like.
Yeah, yeah, and again, it was a smaller budget film too, so it wasn't like it had
Yeah.
200 million to play with. And what I'm trying to think, but yeah, I think I guess that's the fair statement of it was that they're.
I mean, for it being a movie adaptation,
I guess if you
it's
make that
pretty
argument,
good.
you make that argument. I can get behind that. Like the fact that it was animated, and who's to say like if they were to animate Five Nights at Freddy's, like what it could be.
It would be totally different if they animated it. And like, one thing I like found kind of weird was like kind of the plot because Vanessa being Michael Afton's daughter. I don't know.
So if you watch the Matt Pet videos, there's like theories about all that shit. Um,
Yeah.
Also too, one thing I would say my only gripe about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I wish there was more animatronic stalking. I think that's something I wish because I
Yeah.
mean that's the whole point of the games. And then I wish there was more. There was less like time about like, because there was like what at least a solid 10 minutes or 5 minutes where Josh Hutcherson was like going through like that dream with his brother. Like it replayed probably like 6 times.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Mm.
like I get it, like you really want to focus down on like who took your brother, but and even in the end, you don't even find like you don't like see, William Afton like look back and like that's him. It's just like he's just in a car and he drives off like 6 or 7 times.
What is that thing called? Like a dream sequence or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I didn't really get it. I just thought it was interesting.
Like I just think it was a bit overplayed, and that's why I was like, okay, like I get that you're reliving the dream and like you're having guilt about it, but it's like, dog, like he's drove off like 7 times,
I mean,
like
obviously it's related to the whole pizzeria because the kids appearing in his dream have to be related to his brother's disappearance.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's just that I feel like that whole dream sequence was a bit overplayed. That's just me though.
I think the spot where it is good and amazing.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, this is what a year or so in the making. Like about a year of me driving back and forth, picking you up and taking you to the movies.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we've been meaning to do this for a while, and we finally got around to doing it. So glad we finally did it. But this is our movie. This is our tier list for the
That's
movies
freaking
that
go.
we've watched in the past year and a half. Well, not year and a half, but a year and 4 months.
Some change.
So, but yeah, that's it. That's the whole video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you guys for freaking watching. Freaking subscribe, leave a like, and go to the freaking description. Let's freaking go.
We're gonna go. All right, bye.